Don Carpenter on Newsradio 1270 and 106.7 FM KIML.
Newsradio 1270 and 106.7 KIML. Don Carpenter Show. Okay, we have some breaking news. I want to get back to the Second Amendment stuff in a second, but breaking news, ABC News is reporting that the Vermont State Police say that a passenger train, an Amtrak passenger train, has derailed in Northfield, Vermont. Police and emergency crews are responding to the scene, and that's all we know right now. Although I'm sure by the end of the day, by the end of the hour, I'm sure somehow the Republicans in Congress will be blamed for it, but that's what we have right now. Amtrak train derailed Northfield, Vermont. I think the Vermont train, I think, is the one that goes up from New York State up to Montreal. If I'm not mistaken, it might be the one that goes from Boston to Montreal, but that's all we know right now. Okay, so earlier in the show, we talked a little bit about the full court press that we're seeing on the Second Amendment right now. Hillary is going to do a speech at some point today. I think it's this afternoon, where she's going to propose just massive new gun control regulations. You have Martin O'Malley proposing, again, Martin O'Malley, he's at 1%, so he's not really a serious contender, but Martin O'Malley is proposing a 4-point plan that would include fingerprinting all gun owners, as well as the universal background checks, which would eliminate all private firearm sales. And make no mistake, that's what universal background checks do. They eliminate private sales. So if you have a gun and you want to sell it to a friend, you'd have to go through a dealer. It would no longer be a private sale. You'd have to fill out paperwork. You'd have to do the background check. You're a registered gun owner. Congratulations. And of course, some of the more honest elements on the left over the weekend were calling for outright confiscation, which is what all of this leads up to. This is what Hillary wants. This is what Martin O'Malley wants. It's what Bernie Sanders wants. It's what Joe Biden wants. And Joe Biden over the weekend says that people shouldn't be able to have bazookas and F-15 jets with Hellfire missiles. Of course, Hellfire missiles aren't fired from jets, and I'm pretty sure people can't just buy bazookas. But Joe Biden, that's old crazy old Joe. They all want confiscation. Make no mistake about that. So Fox and Friends weekend. Let's see. This is from Saturday. No, this is actually from Sunday morning. Sunday morning, Donald Trump was the guest. The first half of the interview, he just talked about the parody on Saturday Night Live. Was actually a pretty good Trump parody. He didn't like the hair, of course, but it wasn't a bad Trump parody. However, the second half, he did talk a little bit about his Second Amendment speech, where he said that the Second Amendment is an inalienable right that shall not be infringed upon, period, which is a bit of a change from what we've heard from Trump in the past, but he got good responses for that, and we'll get to that in a second. However, let's take a call real quick. Newsradio 1270, you're on the air.
Yeah, hey, how you doing today?
Good, what's up?
Well, this gun control is every time there's what they call a mass shooting, because some idiot, wants to go out and shoot people and get his name in the newspaper, the Democrats try to push through gun control. And what's funny is this bill that Hillary Clinton's trying to push through, she's been working on for years now with none other than John Kerry and President Obama.
Oh, of course.
Now's just the opportunity to bring it up. And with the race that the guy was, doesn't it kind of make you a little suspicious that he was sitting at the White House last month planning this shooting?
You know, it's funny. Of course, the media won't mention this guy's race. Again, he was a mixed race. His mother was black. His dad was white. They're doing everything they can to avoid discussing that. Instead, they're calling him a white supremacist, which I don't even know how that's possible, but that's what they're claiming.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. He's a white supremacist that's black.
Yeah, and his white father was never in his life.
Yeah, it just the whole thing's just kind of kooky, you know. It's what they are talking about, what they aren't talking about. You know, the way the whole thing transpired. Exactly when Obama started talking about signing another gun control executive order.
Oh yeah,
You know, like the last one. Hopefully, the FBI just shoots this one down again. You know, and it's just the gun control thing is really getting out of hand.
well, and yeah, and I'm at the point right now where I want them to try. I want, because we've heard nothing but talk for the last 7 years. We're gonna, you know, they've tried a few things, but they've never, you know, haven't made any serious gun control attempts. I want them to try, because in 2017,
Yeah, I really think with this one, they're wanting complete registration is what they're wanting as part of this. And I really think that would be a lead to the Civil War.
well, I will tell you one thing. There are a lot of people that would not comply with registration.
No, I wouldn't, and I'm a gun dealer.
Yeah.
You know, they'd end up pulling my license, you know, and everything else, and I would just sell guns that I got by other means. You know,
Well, yeah, you can still sell your
tried doing it legally, but when they make it illegal to own a gun, I guess I'll do it illegally.
Well, and you know, you still have your personal stock. You can always sell that.
Yeah, well, wouldn't want to sell very much of it. I might need it.
Well, yeah. It's always easier to buy them than to sell them, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, at least for me.
Well, I know the feeling. I know the feeling. Hey, thanks a lot for the call.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, and trust me, that caller speaks for a lot of people, even gun dealers. You know, there are so many federal firearms license holders that are just regular guys like you and me. They're not, they're not big gun stores like Cabela's or Rocky Mountain Discount Sports, who are great. They're just regular guys running in a little shop out back of their house. Guys like this are not going to comply if registration and confiscation comes up. And there's going to be a lot of people like that. Newsradio 1270, you're on the air.
Hey, Don.
Hey, what's up?
Well, I just kind of got tuned into the conversation. I was in a safety meeting this morning, but I've been wanting to kind of discuss this with you anyway. I was listening on Christian radio here a couple of weeks ago, talk show there, and they were giving information about gun control and some of the tactics that they're going to try and use. And this really sounds so far-fetched, and yet when you think about it, one of the tactics they're going to use, and it goes back to a time when homosexuality was thought to be a mental disorder. Doctors thought it was a mental disorder, psychiatrists, and so on and so forth. Well, now that is completely switched. Now it has been, for the most part, outside of the Christian community anyway, has been accepted as a normal alternate lifestyle. And now it is switched so diabolically 180 that if you think that homosexuality is a mental disorder, then you have a mental disorder. And if you have a mental disorder, you can't own a gun.
Well, and they'll use even more than that. If you are a registered Republican, they'll consider you mentally insane. If you are a Christian, they'll consider you mentally unfit. And that's why the background check system doesn't work, because when the government can decide who can and cannot exercise their rights, they will always abuse it. Always.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's not far-fetched at all. That's exactly what would happen if we had these expanded mental health restrictions on background checks. That's exactly what would happen.
Well, and Don, it does bother me to a certain extent, and even causes me some fear what this president might do with an executive order.
Well, Hillary's saying that she will do it if she's elected.
I read that this morning.
She's promising to do it. So it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. But, and I've said this a couple times, I'm at the point now where I want them to try something, because every politician that has their fingers in this is going to be flipping burgers in 2017.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. And somebody pointed out so aptly the other day that the president doesn't believe in guns, or he believes in gun control, but he sure likes those people right around him to have guns.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I'm sure he likes all the guns to be around him and none with the rest of us.
You got it.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Hey, thanks a lot. Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I want these people to try something. I dare them to try something. I double dare them. Double dog dare them to try something. I want to see a bill proposed with this universal background check junk. I want to see registration bills and fingerprint bills. I want to see all these things, because they're all going to fail, and everybody that supports these things is going to be exposed as exactly what they are. That's advocates for confiscation. It'll be the biggest landslide in the history of this country if they actually had the guts to try it. Newsradio 1270, 106.7 KIML.
You're listening to Don Carpenter on Newsradio 1270 and 106.7 FM KIML. Don Carpenter on Newsradio 1270 and 106.7 FM KIML.
News Radio 1270 and 106.7 KIML. Don Carpenter Show. Okay. We've been talking a little bit about the tantrum that the left has been throwing over the past few days over what they see as a lack of gun control. Of course, nothing solid has been proposed, just more of the same. We need to do something. We need to do something. We need to do something. Blame the NRA. Blame the NRA. All it's done is gotten more people to go out and buy more guns. I bet you anything, October will set another record for number of guns bought. And that's just through dealers. I mean, can you imagine the number of people that are buying guns privately as we speak, in the anticipation that something could possibly happen? Of course, Hillary going to give her speech a little bit later on today of what she thinks she can do if she's elected president. I've seen a few of the talking heads online saying that she was forced into this by the media and by Bernie Sanders, and it's going to hurt her in the Rust Belt states. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think, if anything, we've found out that the old Reagan Democrats, the Democrats that love their guns and their Bibles, have kind of deserted the Democratic primaries over the past couple decades. So I wouldn't be surprised if this actually helps her numbers with her base. Not in the general election. Make no mistake, in the general election, any politician that is in favor of expanded background checks, which is registration, which leads to confiscation, any of them, they're going to lose by record numbers. And Donald Trump, he was on Fox and Friends Weekend yesterday. He talked a little bit about this, and I figured I'd share with you a little bit of it, at least a few minutes of it. Okay, this is from yesterday morning.
Happened the other day in Oregon, and the president, even while police were still on the scene, hops up on stage and tells the rest.
Still not used to Tucker Carlson not wearing a bow tie.
What's your response to that?
Well, I got to see a clip of me yesterday. I was in Tennessee and made it was really a rally. It was a love fest. We were packed, and it was just amazing people. And I talked about it. You saw that I was talking about it. And, that was a gun-free zone in Oregon where they had no guns allowed, no nothing. So the only one that had the gun was the bad guy, and everybody was sitting there, and there was nothing they could do, not a thing they could do. Actually, the police did a fantastic job getting in that quickly, but there was nobody with any protection. And wouldn't they have been better off if somebody in the room, anybody, anybody had a gun to at least help them out? But it was
Okay, now I'll just give you a little bit of background. The college, this community college, this Umpqua Community College, did have a gun-free rule, and the one security guard that was on duty was also unarmed. The police did, and Trump is right, the police got there pretty quick. 5 minutes is pretty quick. And as these things usually go, as soon as the police show up, the bad guy shoots himself, which makes you wonder if there had at least been one armed security guard or one person in the class carrying a concealed weapon that was able to pull it out and defend themselves. This guy probably would have done himself in a lot sooner before hurting all those people. That's what these guys are. They're cowards. They're little sissies and cowards. As soon as they're challenged, they turn the gun on themselves. And it's coulda, woulda, shoulda, but it's common sense to know that these guys are picking these targets because they're soft targets. These gun-free zones are advertising now. And whether it was originally like that or not, we don't know. But now everybody that wants to do something bad knows all they have to do is go to the local college, go to the local high school, go to a mall that has a big gun-free zone sticker up on the window. These gun-free zones are advertising for trouble.
A terrible thing, and these gun-free zones are a disaster because everybody's just a sitting duck. You saw it recently where military people, highly decorated, a gun-free zone right near the military base, actually on the military base, a gun-free zone, and a couple of those guys were really highly decorated military people, and this guy walks in and shoots them and kills them, and it's just horrible. So, there's a double side to all of this stuff. If you had the guns in that room, he wouldn't have shot so many people, and they wouldn't have just been standing and sitting there helpless.
Well, the other side of this is,
and of course, we're almost out of time here for this break. But that's if you want to solve this problem, and there's not an easy solution to it, but one of the steps to solve this problem is getting rid of these gun-free zones. Obviously, you can't force a private entity to allow weapons. You can't force the mall. You can't force a private college. You can't force you can't force a private business. But if you're a state school that takes federal money, there's no way you should be able to restrict someone's Second Amendment right to defend themselves. And maybe that's where we need to start. It's not the be-all, end-all. These things will still happen. And there's always going to be bad people that want to do bad things. But you at least give the people there a chance. And maybe, just maybe, after a couple times of one of these maniacs getting shot before he even gets in the building, maybe the next maniac will think twice before he does it. Okay, we'll be right back to finish things up. News Radio, 1270, 106.7 KIML.
The show's so big, it couldn't fit on one frequency. Don Carpenter on News Radio 1270 and 106.7 KIML. 7